Today on Unlocked, I am so excited because this is a little different than what we normally do. I have one of the most fascinating human beings on my podcast, and you get to hear it firsthand from him. And the world, I feel like, especially the past 10 years, has been fascinated with the mob. It's just a fascination from The Sopranos, The Godfather, all the shows that have come out that we've got to learn and kind of have a little insight into the mob. And today I have Larry Formato on. Welcome.
Thank you. Glad to be here.
So we had dinner last night.
We did.
And I got to know you a little bit more.
Yes.
And it was the most fascinating dinner I think I've ever had. Seriously, the most fascinating dinner. So we'll kind of jump right into it. I kind of want to start from the beginning though. So, well, first you have your book.
I do.
Okay. The title is?
Connected by Larry Formato.
Yes. So you can find it. Where can people find it?
Amazon. All those outlets. Yeah.
Okay. So Connected by Larry Formato. And it kind of tells your whole life story.
Pretty much, yeah.
Yeah. So starting from the very beginning, let's start from the beginning as a kid.
Yeah.
And your story there, just your upbringing, how you grew up.
Yeah, so I grew up in a pretty poor family. Mm-hmm. My father worked in a wire factory, and I was a sick kid. I had rheumatic fever when I was young. Mm-hmm. So they didn't expect me to live past 15, I don't think, somewhere around there. Mm. And I was pretty much bedridden my younger years. So my mother dragged me to Canada, to a cathedral. And what I remember of it is there's just a bunch of stairs, and we went up these stairs on our knees. And at the top of the stairs, when you get to the top of the stairs, there's crutches and other things that are left up there from people that were crippled and supposedly received their cure.
Okay.
So here I am, this little kid. I don't know what the hell we're doing, you know. I'm doing what my mother told me to do, you know, and my knees are killing me, and I didn't really want to be doing it anyway. So she said, oh, you got to just say prayers and ask, you know, God to cure you. Okay, I'll do it, Mom. Anyway, so we did that, and I never had a rheumatic fever after that or any effects from it.
No way.
Yeah, so that was like the first miracle in my life.
Yeah.
People have them. I've been blessed to have more than one, but
yeah,
you know, that was it. Yeah.
So you were always really a fighter. You had to overcome a lot.
I grew up in East Orange, New Jersey, and when we left East Orange, we were the last white family on the block. So I used to fight my way to school and home from school.
Yeah.
You know? So, you know, it was just a natural thing for me.
And then you got married at 18.
I did.
Okay. So you got married super young, and that journey, you kind of jumped right into it. You got married, you had a kid, and then I feel like you really felt the struggle then.
I did. I was working in the auto body industry as an auto body man. And, you know, that's not easy work, but it was a living to some degree. Anyway. Yeah. And I was never one to work for anyone. So I decided, heck, I could do this on my own. And I just rented a little garage and put up a sign and, you know, Center Auto Body, and started my own little auto body shop. And
so then you went from auto body to the stock market.
I did. A fellow that, you know, I went to school with, who was pretty much of a, can we say fuck up?
Yeah, go for it.
Anyway, he was a fuck up. And so he came in with a Porsche. He drove in a Porsche. And I said to him, where did you steal this car from? And he said, it's my car. I said, no, it's not. Get the fuck out of here. It's not your car, you know? So he finally convinced me it was his car. And I asked him what he did. He said he was a stockbroker. And I don't know what a stockbroker is. So I questioned him a little bit more. I asked him where he worked. He told me he worked in Englewood, New Jersey. And I said, well, man, can we go see your office? And he said, oh, sure. So it was my body shop, so I'm guessing he thought I might have had money so he could make me a client. I don't know, but I went along with whatever he was saying. I just wanted to get to his office. So there we went in his car and his Porsche and my work clothes, paint all over my shirt and pants and work boots. And we go into this office and there's all these guys sitting behind desks and they all had suits and ties and people back there playing with their nails and talking on the telephone.
Yeah.
I still don't know what the hell they're doing. Anyway, we got to go meet this guy's boss. John Engel was his name. And man, I had the image of my first meeting with John embedded in my mind for the rest of my life, forever. He sat behind this big desk. He smoked Kent cigarettes, one right after the other. He had a gold watch on and a gold bracelet on the other hand and a big gold chain around his neck. And he said, "What are you doing here?" I said, "Well, I got to tell you," I said, "this guy here, is driving a Porsche and claims he's making all this money. And I don't know what the hell you guys do, but I know one thing for sure. He's a fuck up. I could definitely do it better than he can do it. And I want to do whatever he's doing, but better." And the guy liked me. And he said,
"How could you not?"
Yeah, well, but so he gave me a shot, and he said, "You have to pass, a Series 7 exam, which is given by the government." I said, "Oh yeah, I could do that. I can pass this exam. I didn't pass high school. I bribed my way out of high school." So, and I did. I bribed my way out of high school.
Hey.
So, I said I could do this. So, I started using this guy's name. And sat behind a desk, and they threw a phone book at me, and they said, "This is where you're going to get all your clients from." And I said, "What am I supposed to do?" "Well, you open the phone book and you start calling each person in the phone book, and you sell them stock." I didn't know what stock even was, but that's how it started.
Yeah.
Back then, I didn't have a car.
Okay.
I had an auto body shop, but I didn't have a car.
I still find that to be the funniest thing ever. I'm going to work on cars. I just don't have one.
I didn't. I swear to you, I didn't have a car. I didn't have any money. So I went and I got my father's suit and his shirt and his tie and his shoes, and I hitchhiked.
You hitchhiked? How far?
About 30 miles. Which
every day?
Doesn't sound far when you say 30 miles.
Oh, it's far.
But I was in the country, and Englewood was in the city. So I had to take these back roads and then get on Route 80, the highway, and then hitchhike the rest of the way, and then get off the exit, and then walk the rest of the way to the office.
Yeah. So
there was nothing easy about my journey every day, but I did it, and I did that for 6 months.
Because you had such a desire for success.
I did. I had a burning desire to make money, a lot of money. Mm-hmm. I watched my father work himself to death, literally.
Yeah.
And I just knew that was not going to be me. Mm. So, yeah, I had a burning desire to make a lot of money, and I was willing to do whatever it was going to take to do that.
And so you worked every day cold calling.
I worked 7 days a week, from 7 in the morning to 11 at night when people started hanging up the phones on me because it was too late.
Okay.
And then I would leave and go home and start all over again.
And so then you had to take your test.
I did.
And you speak about that in the book.
I do.
And the journey to passing that test
was fairly simple because my cousin Big John, who we talk about in the book, had a lot of connections. And he was connected enough to be able to get me a copy of this test. They were given 3 tests back then. And so I had a copy of all 3. So I sat at nighttime with my mom, and she would just read me the answers, and I would memorize them to all the tests.
So you did have to, that's a lot to memorize.
It is, but I still didn't know what the hell I was doing. I memorized the answers. I knew the answers, but I didn't know what they meant. Okay,
so then... Now you're basically like the Wolf of Wall Street before he ever came along.
No, he's an asshole.
See, I love that.
He definitely is an asshole.
Because when people hear this, that's kind of what they will associate it with, is the Wolf of Wall Street.
Yeah. If I wasn't in jail while he was doing his bullshit, he would be coming to me and bringing me checks every week.
Because you had no idea how successful you were becoming at that time.
Not when I was first starting out, but after a while I knew how successful I was.
Yeah. Well, the moment, like we were talking about last night, you said the moment you realized, holy shit, like I'm actually good at this was when your main guy took you to buy suits and a car and all these things.
Well, I didn't really know how good I was until he did that.
Yeah.
You know, so he called me in his office one day and he said, you know, I have to ask you, you know, I see you coming to work every day and I know you wear the same fucking suit every day. You know, in the brokerage business, everybody says fuck, by the way. So it's just common language. So he says, I know you wear the same fucking suit every day and the same shoes and the same shirt. And, you know, what the fuck are you doing? I know you don't drive here. How do you get here? So, you know, I thought I was getting fired. So I just owned up to it. I said, I hitchhike here. That's how I get here. You know, I don't have any money. I don't have a car, you know, but I'm dedicated. I want to make a lot of money. Mm-hmm. He said, okay, I'll be right. I'll go back to your desk. So I knew he was going to come out and fire me. I just sat there waiting for the hammer to come down. And because, you know, they don't want guys that are bums. You know, they want guys that drive nice cars, that wear nice suits, you know.
Yeah.
So I knew I was out. He came out and he said, come on, we're going for a ride. So he took me for a ride. We went clothes shopping. Mm-hmm. I said, I can't pay you back all this money. There's no way I can do this. I'm not taking this.
Yeah.
And he said, no, you're good. You already earned it. Don't worry about it. You worked pretty damn hard. I said, I don't know about that. And he said, oh, no, this is all yours. So basically, he bought me shirts, ties, socks.
The whole thing.
Suits, you name it, he bought it. And we left there, and then we stopped at a car lot, and he showed me my new car. So that's when I knew that I was successful. I went from nothing...
Yeah.
Literally to that day getting $250,000 in my pocket and a new car.
Wow.
Yeah.
And so at that point in time, you knew this was going to be your
I was on my
meal
way.
ticket out.
Yeah, I was on my way. And it came from nothing short of a lot of hard work.
And at this time, really, you were doing everything by the book.
Yeah, oh yeah.
At this point in time.
Yeah.
And then when did you go from being a normal, naive kid to now I'm being introduced into the world of the mob?
Well, that came years later. The world of the mob. Well, I was always introduced to the world of the mob. I was, born in East Orange. My mother and father were from Orange. And, all my relatives were from Orange, New Jersey.
Yeah.
So basically, that's the hub. Newark, New Jersey, Orange, New Jersey is the hub of what was going on in the mob world. So I always, I was on the outside looking in, but knew that it always existed for sure. And it wasn't until I really tasted success that I started to get bothered a little bit. I had a guy come to my office one day, and his name was Big Jim. Big Jim. Who knows? I don't know. Anyway, Big Jim. And he told me I owed him $20,000. And I told him he was full of shit. And he told me I had to pay him or things bad were going to happen to me. So I called Big John. And I said, this guy came to the office, blah, blah, blah. And, he threatened me and he wants $20,000. And so Big John took me to back to Orange, New Jersey. Back to Orange, New Jersey. And we went to a dry cleaners. And we went into this dry cleaners and we went into the back room of a dry cleaners. Mm-hmm. And there was Red Cesare. And he's just the epitome of what a wise guy looks like. I'm looking like a nice guy over here. I know I look good, right? Yeah, all right. But he, for sure, you see him, he's a wise guy.
And so what is a wise guy?
Well, a wise guy is a made guy. He's the man. So
he is like officially a mob guy.
Oh, he's definitely a mob guy. Yeah.
Okay. So you walk in, see him.
I see him. And the first thing he says to John, it was kind of like a test, I guess. I don't really know. But he says to Big John, he said, I told you never bring legitimate guys around me. So I looked at him and I looked at John. I'm thinking, okay, let's get out of here like right now.
Yeah.
And then Red said to me, tell me what's going on. What's the problem? And then I told him very quickly. I said, this guy, Big Jim, told me I owe him $20,000. I don't know what to do about it. He said, well, I'm going to tell you what to do about it. He said, when Big Jim comes to see you, this is what you say to him. You tell him to go fuck himself. I said, what? What do I do? He said, you tell him to go fuck himself and you tell him Red said so.
Oh.
I said, okay. So I did that. And
Yeah.
I left. And I said to John, I said, am I really supposed to tell this? John says, do you know what just happened? I said, no, I know that guy told me to go tell somebody to go fuck themselves. He said, he gave you permission to use his name. Do you know how big that is? No one has permission to use names. You don't use names in the mob world.
Yeah.
You don't drop names. But Red gave me permission to use his name, and that's big. That's really big.
Oh.
So sure enough, Big Jim did come, and he said, I'm here for my money. I said, well, I got a message for you. He said, yeah, what's that? Go fuck yourself and get the fuck out of my office. And Red said to say hello. And that's all I did. That's what happened. And, you know, in the wise guy world, you know, it's a small world. Mm-hmm. And word travels fast around places. And so Big Jim went and did his homework. And he found out that I was with Red at that point. Red was protecting me. Mm-hmm. And that was the end of the 20 grand.
No kidding.
Yeah.
So so then at that point, that was kind of your introduction.
That was kind of my introduction, yeah. And I never heard from Red for a year. For a whole year, I never heard another word from him.
And then after that year,
I was in my office, and Big John came to my office, said, there's somebody outside that wants to see. I said, John, you didn't even come here. You didn't tell me you were coming. I'm busy. Get the fuck out of here. You know? What are you doing? You know, I can't just go outside and talk to people whenever you show up.
Yeah.
He said, you better go outside. I said, I'm not doing it. He said, listen, my man, you are going outside right now. So I get up, I grab my jacket like I'm really pissed off, and I slam the door open, and I did an imitation of Jackie Gleason, which was humming when I saw Red standing there. And Red said, come on, let's go for a walk. And it was winter, and he had a long brown cashmere coat on, tan. And we locked arms and we started walking down the sidewalk. Mm-hmm. And he gave me this speech, you know, and he told me how rich I was and how powerful, you know,
because
I am.
At this time, how successful were you?
I probably had maybe $30 million.
Oh, no big deal.
Well, you know, I owned my own brokerage firm, you know. So yeah, I was pretty successful. You know.
Okay, so you're walking down the
Had
street.
Rolls Royce, limousines, airplanes. Yeah, I was pretty successful.
Okay, okay, pretty successful. So you're walking down the street.
And he told me that people are watching me. People are going to try to latch onto me. But with him, I would have more than just money. That I would have power and people would fear me. That he wants to be my partner. And then he said, think about it. And left me.
Okay, and how long did you think about this?
About 5 minutes.
Do you wish you would have thought a little longer?
About 5 minutes.
Okay.
Yeah.
And you said, I'm in.
Yeah, I mean, I thought about it, and I said, you know, Wall Street, you know, stocks, the Mafia. Fuck yeah, man, I'm in. Yeah. That was
And
it.
so at that point in time, you're in.
I'm in.
Now, isn't part of the Mafia, like, you had all this money, but you're kind of expected to pay it forward, right?
Yeah, absolutely. If you're in.
If you're in, yeah.
Yeah.
So at that point, you were in, and what were the next steps?
Well, basically, the next step was, you know, I met with Red for the first time, you know, as a meeting, a serious meeting.
Yeah.
And he started giving me the rules, the what to do's and the what not to do's. And basically, you know, he asked me, does anyone owe me money? And I said, yeah, there's one guy that owes me money, but there's nothing we can do about him. And he said, well, why is that? I said, because he's with the Chin. And Red said to me, how do you know that name? And then I had to tell him this whole story about this sit down that we had in New York with this guy, Johnny Fats, who said he was with the Chin.
Who's the Chin?
The Chin is the boss of the Genovese crime family.
So there's like 4 or 5 major crime families, correct?
Yeah.
Okay, and they are the Genovese,
Lucchese.
Yep, Lucchese.
Bonanno. Gambino.
Okay.
Yeah.
So those are the major, that's kind of like what runs the whole Mafia world.
Yeah.
Okay.
So Red didn't say anything. He just, you know, passed that one by. And I was happy to pass it by because I didn't want anything to do with Johnny Fats and And that whole deal, that cost me money.
Yeah.
So, but later on, wise guys have a memory. And it's not short.
Oof.
They never forget. Ever. So you got to read my book, honestly. I mean, there's some good stories in it.
It is. It's great.
So, I'll just tell you. So later on.
Well, yeah, like you said, they never forget.
They don't.
So there was a part in your book to where Red had a guy held out of a window by his feet.
Yeah. So basically, this guy owed Red and his partners some money. And he kept promising to pay and pay and pay and pay. So Red and Lenny Macaluso, Lenny worked for Red. He was like an enforcer. Tough guy, a very tough guy. And so it was actually Lenny that was holding him out the window, and it was Red telling him what was going to happen to him.
Oh.
Yeah. So the guy was definitely scared for his life. And he went to the cops. And Red went to jail. And the guy died from rat poisoning. That's what happened.
That's just what happened.
That's exactly what happened.
I don't know how the man got rat poisoned.
Yeah.
That's so, like you said, they have a very long memory.
They do have a long memory. So I had a nightclub in Whippany, New Jersey, a very popular nightclub. All the wise guys used to come to it. And there was a hotel next to it, Holiday Inn, one of those. And I used to stay in one of the rooms next to the hotel, and I was there with my girlfriend. And the phone rings in the hotel room early. It was early in the morning. It was like, I don't know, 7 o'clock, 8 o'clock in the morning. And it's Red. He said, I'm over here at the club. Come over. I'm thinking to myself, uh-oh, this is not good. This is definitely trouble for me.
Yeah.
So I go over there, and he's there with this other guy, this burly, deep-voiced guy. And he said, this is my partner, Joe. And Joe said, so this is the guy, huh? And Red said, yep, he's the guy. So I knew right away who this guy was. I never met him face to face, but I knew who he was.
Yeah.
And it was Joe the Indian. And so Red said, come on, let's go. And I said, well where are we going? He said, we're going for a ride. And I didn't like that at all. You know, not even a little bit. So we get outside and Red gives me his keys and said, you drive. I was very relieved at that point that I wasn't sitting in the passenger seat and Joe was in the back seat. Because that's what I thought was happening.
Okay.
So we get in the car and I said, well, where are we going? He said, we're going to New York. I said, well, what are we going to do in New York? He said, we're going to go see that scumbag motherfucker. I said, well, who's that? The guy that you told me we couldn't collect the money from.
No.
So this is a year later from that little story that I told him at my first meeting in the restaurant about the guy that owed us the money that we couldn't touch. And then Joe says, yeah, and the chin said to go choke that motherfucker.
No.
Absolutely. Swear that's how it happened. So.
Holy cow.
Yeah.
So, wow. That is, you never know what you're going to get in that life.
For sure.
You never know.
You never know what you're getting, for sure.
And so, when you got very immersed in this whole life, you had crazy connections. There was a connection to Frank Sinatra.
Right.
And what was that?
Well, we were building. We decided that there was casinos in Atlantic City and there was casinos in Las Vegas, and we decided that we could push legislation to get casinos in the Poconos in Pennsylvania. So we spread this rumor, this lie, that Jilly Rizzo, Frank Sinatra's road manager, partner, and bodyguard, is building this big hotel casino in the Poconos. Well, you're not allowed to use the word casino, but we did.
Yeah.
And so we decided to do a stock campaign, and the company was called Worldwide Ventures. And so Worldwide, for the most part, was just a bullshit company. And I was out of the stock brokerage business at this time, and I was the president of Worldwide Ventures. And I still had all my connections with all the brokers and all the brokerage firms and all the traders. But now I was a powerful guy.
Because you had the Mafia behind you.
I pretty much ruled the street. And nobody fucked with me back then. Nobody. So Red and Joe were in the car, and we get to New York. And, there was a movie. I just, for the life of me, can't think of the name of it right at the moment. But, excuse me. It was with Kirk Douglas and somebody else, where they were gangsters, old-time gangsters.
Okay.
And, they were portraying these guys and walking the way they walked and all that. Well, I was walking up the streets of New York with Joe and Red, and I was just in awe. I mean, these guys everybody just moved away from them when they walked. It was just something to see. I mean, they had it, and people knew that they had it, and I was just like, I want to be them. That's what it was. I mean, that was it. That was it. That's what I wanted to be.
Unlocked is brought to you by Progressive Insurance. Most of you listening right now are probably multitasking. Yep, while you're listening to me talk, you're probably also driving, cleaning, exercising, or maybe even grocery shopping. But if you're not in some kind of moving vehicle, there's something else you could be doing right now. Getting an auto quote from Progressive Insurance. It's easy, and you could save money by doing it right from your phone. Drivers who save by switching to Progressive save nearly $700 on average, and auto customers qualify for an average of 7 discounts. Discounts for having multiple vehicles on your policy, being a homeowner, and more. So just like your favorite podcast, Progressive will be with you 24/7, 365 days a year, so you're protected no matter what. Multitask right now. Quote your car insurance at progressive.com to join the over 29 million drivers who trust Progressive. If you've been following along, then you know that we're going through puberty in our household, and please pray for me. But if it wasn't for this journey, I would not have discovered Lumi products. I wanted to find the best deodorant for Chloe to use, and a deodorant that was safe. And that's where Lumi comes into play. Lumi is a whole body deodorant. It's the first of its kind, and it's seriously safe to use anywhere on your body. I mean, all the private parts, your feet, your underarms, everywhere. And it also blocks odor all day and controls odor for up to 72 hours. So it kind of works more like a pre-deodorant. It's absolutely amazing. Aluminum-free, baking soda-free, and paraben-free. Plus, it's pH balanced so that you can use it for all of your private areas. But what I love is they have a variety of scents. They have bright scents like clean tangerine, lavender sage, or toasted coconut. Lumi's starter pack is perfect for new customers. It comes with a solid stick deodorant, cream tube deodorant, 2 free products of your choice, like a mini body wash and deodorant types, and free shipping. As a special offer for my listeners, new customers get $5 off a Lumi starter pack with code UNLOCKED at lumideodorant.com. That equates to over 40% off of your starter pack when you visit lumideodorant.com and use code UNLOCKED.
So we went there, and we got to this guy's office. And the secretary, who knew me well, took a look at them and said, "Let me get Peter." And this is the guy that owed us the money.
So you go into the office.
Yeah. So let me get Peter.
Yeah.
So she goes and she gets Peter, and he comes up front. And hey, Larry, what's going on? And he looks at Joe and he looks at Red. And he says, "Well, come to my office, come to my office." And he's a little nervous.
Yeah.
Doesn't know what to expect. Peter smoked Pall Malls. Non-filters. Pall Mall cigarettes.
Okay.
Yeah, I mean, you're young. You wouldn't know those things.
No.
But anyway, that's what he smoked. Pall Mall non-filtered cigarettes. And when we got into the office, Red said to Peter, So you like to threaten people, especially women, and you're going to go and shoot up everybody's office, and you're going to have people killed, and you're going to throw people out windows. You're a tough guy, huh? Peter said, oh, no, I'm not a tough guy. He said, well, how about if I throw you out the fucking window? Oh, no, you got the wrong idea. No, I don't have the wrong idea. Get Johnny Fats on the fucking phone and get him here right now. So that's what occurred. And Peter said, well, I just need a little time to get him. Okay, get him. So we sat there and watched Peter smoke one Pall Mall after the other, burning his fingers as he's smoking them. And in about 20 minutes or so, 30 minutes maybe, Johnny Fats showed up. What fucking trouble did you get me into now? And, Red said, shut the fuck up. Who the fuck do you think you are? That's how these guys talk, I mean.
It's normal.
It's normal, yeah. And let's get out of here. We're going to go make some phone calls. So we left the office and we went downstairs, and there was a little coffee shop. And we sat in the back of this coffee shop. But on the way to the coffee shop, in the elevator, Johnny Fats says to Pete, what kind of fucking trouble did you get me into? What did you do to me? So Red smacks Johnny Fats right in the fucking mouth and said, shut the fuck up, tough guy. I don't want to hear another word out of you until you get your people here. And so that's it. So we're in the coffee shop, and Johnny Fats is in the phone booth making phone calls. And we're waiting 30 minutes, 40 minutes, an hour. And then finally 2 guys come in, and they come up and they give Joe a kiss, and they give Red a kiss, and they give me a kiss, and they just look at Johnny Fats and Peter. So they sit down. What's the problem? Red shortly tells them that Peter owes me $450,000, and he's going to pay it. And they said, and then Joe said, but you guys, you don't have the stripes to even be here. Go get your boss. So they had to go to the phone booth, and they had to call their boss. And the guy finally showed up. He was all the way in Long Island, and he had to come all the way to New York. And so basically the deal was settled. We had a big sit down there. Peter just about died 1,000 deaths. Johnny Fats was held responsible for all the money to make sure that Peter paid me back. Peter apologized profusely to my sister and other people that he threatened to kill. And we got our money.
So you settled the deal.
We settled the deal, and then I was like ultimately impressed with Joe and Red at that point.
It was just a life you wanted
it
more
was.
of.
And the other thing was that these guys used somebody's name. Remember I said I had permission to use Red's name? Well, they used a name that no one has permission to use. You just don't
And what
use
was it?
The Chin. You just don't use that name ever.
Yeah.
And he used it. And so the Chin told Joe to go choke that motherfucker.
No.
Yeah, so long story short, I was afraid of these guys because they were with the boss.
Yeah.
Not knowing the whole time that my guy is with the boss.
Holy cow.
So that was it. That's the story.
That's insane.
Yeah, that's a good story. I like that story.
Holy cow.
It impressed me.
That is crazy.
Yeah, that's when I knew for sure that I was with the powerhouse.
Yeah. And so from that moment, what would you say was the first moment that you started kind of creating this trail of illegal activity that you eventually went down 4 years later?
I think when we started the worldwide deal, because we had all these wise guys involved, so it was me, my crew, and then we had Jilly and his crew, and Jilly was connected to little Davey Iacchevetti out in Boston. And so Davey got involved in the deal representing Frank and Jilly.
Okay.
So it was just a mess. And the stock deal was going really, really well. We made a lot of money with the stock. We took it from $0 to $9. We sold 55 million shares into the market.
Oh.
You know, I mean, we just, you know, and basically, you know, we did it because, you know, we kept promoting that gambling was going into the Poconos. And of course, every chance we had, we dropped Sinatra's name and we dropped Jilly's name, and we had Jilly doing promotions in Arizona and Las Vegas and Palm Springs. And then we used to go from Palm Springs to Las Vegas to Los Angeles, and that was our trip. Sinatra always was playing at Caesars at the time, so you know we would go to Caesars, you know, while Sinatra was there. Then we would go to Palm Springs while Sinatra was there. Then we would go to Los Angeles while Sinatra was there. So and we circled this whole thing for months and months and months as our stock kept going up and up and up. You know, so I lived at the L'Hermitage Hotel in Beverly Hills, and with George Liveratos, who was my partner in Worldwide Ventures. And I used to stay at the hotel and work the stocks, and I used to send George out to go party with everyone. And he would party with Clint Eastwood and, you know, Brooke Shields and just, you know, on and on and on. James Caan, it just never ended, you know, and it was just one party after another. And we spent, I don't know, millions of dollars just entertaining people.
Wow.
Yeah.
And what was the point of that?
To get them in so that we could say this guy's associated with our stock, that guy's associated with our company.
Because you were really like the king of the penny stock world.
Yeah. And we used their fame to promote Worldwide Ventures. You know, because everybody wanted to be a part of it. Everyone wanted to be in the deal that Sinatra and Jilly Rizzo was behind.
Yeah.
You know, and that worked perfectly for us.
And so with penny stock, can you explain that? What exactly it is, and then how you took it from $0 to $9?
So penny stocks usually traded back then in what's called the pink sheets.
Okay.
And back then, pink sheets were just that. They were a sheet of paper, and they had a list of all the stocks on it, and then the brokerage firms that were trading these stocks. So you couldn't go on a machine and look up the price of the stock.
Yeah.
You had to get this pink sheets that came out once a week and see who the stock market makers were, and then actually pick up the phone and call that market maker and ask for the trader on that stock and find out what the price was. So basically, they could lie to you. They could tell you whatever the price, whatever they wanted to tell you.
Yeah.
You know. So, and if you were buying, they had a bid and an ask. So if you were trying to sell, you'd be hitting the bid. And if, let's say it was $1 by $2, $1 being the bid. So you'd call them and say, I got 10,000 shares to sell at $1. They could just tell you, well, I'll take 100 at $1, and I'll take the other 9,900 for 20 cents. So, you know, it was a world that you had to be pretty clever on how you did things.
Yeah. And so then at that point, you were using your company, I guess, to manipulate the stocks, correct?
Well, yeah. I mean, we didn't manipulate it to a point of, you know, we just moved the price of the stock where we wanted it to be, when we wanted it to be.
Okay.
So, yeah, so that's manipulation. All right, you caught me. It's manipulation.
You're saying that, and I'm like, so basically manipulation. Okay.
Yeah.
Got it.
So, but what we did is we took Worldwide Ventures off of the pink sheets and put it on NASDAQ, where you can see who the traders are. It was used with machines, NASDAQ machines, brokerage firms everywhere. And it was like going from lower class to upper class.
Okay.
And so that really boosted the price of the stock quite a bit.
So then you started doing that. And then what other things did you start doing that maybe crossed the line a little bit, that you, years down the road, went down for?
So I had a guy that I was going to kill.
Okay. Normal.
His name was Marshall Zope. And Marshall came into my brokerage firm one day and wanted to tell me about a deal. He was taking some whorehouse in Las Vegas public.
Okay.
And he wanted me to be the underwriter, and I passed on the deal. It just wasn't for me at the time. You know, I was busy doing other things, and I didn't really like Marshall.
Yeah.
But when he left with some of my letterhead from my office. And he went out to Las Vegas, and he started writing letters of intent to all these different companies that Royer Securities, which was my brokerage firm, was going to take them public. And he was charging them fees, $50,000 for the letter of intent.
No.
Yeah, so I was going to kill this guy. And I let him know that, sooner or later I'm going to find you, and they're going to find you in the desert, and that's going to be the end of that. Yeah.
Okay.
I mean, it was a way of life.
Yeah, it was just, that's how
it was.
the mafia world works.
Well, that's just how it was.
It's the world of organized crime.
Yeah, that's how it worked.
And so, also, too, you talk about taking companies public.
Yeah.
You took Popeyes public.
Yeah, I was part of the selling group for Popeyes, yeah.
How did you do that?
I had a big book. I had a lot of clients, and I was capable of raising just a tremendous amount of money. So my brokerage firm, I was pretty much the book, even though I had a lot of brokers that worked for me.
Yeah.
I pretty much was the main sales factor behind my firm. So that's how we did it.
That's insane.
Yeah. I had a lot of buying power.
And so what year did that happen?
I think 1977. Don't hold me to it.
Okay.
Maybe 77, 78. I'm not even sure.
Okay.
I don't remember.
And so now, fast forward. So you're a part of this world. You've got $30 million.
Yeah.
You are driving a Rolls Royce. Mm-hmm. You have the mafia behind you. So you have what no one else in Wall Street really had, was the mafia behind you. And you're living a life that you're loving for all intents and purposes.
Yeah, I lived in a mansion. I had an airplane. I didn't fly it. I had a pilot.
Yeah.
But, I had a pilot.
And then when did it all start crashing down?
So, getting back to Marshall Zope,
mm-hmm.
I was going to kill him. And he was hiding from me for a lot of years. And my attorney, Morty Berger, called me one day and he said, I need you to do me a favor. So this is my SEC attorney.
Mm-hmm.
So I said, yeah, of course, I'll do you a favor. What do you need? He said, Marshall is in trouble on a deal and he needs your help. I said, Marshall, like a Marshall Zope? Are you fucking kidding me? Well, bring him to me, please. He said, no, you can't do anything to him. You got to help him. And we'll all make a lot of money on this. So, one thing with most people, including wise guys, if there's an opportunity to make money, they put aside their personal feelings.
Of course.
So I put aside my personal feelings for Marshall, and because Morty, my close friend and attorney, asked me to do this, I did this deal for Marshall's Open. It was the Chill Can. And the Chill Can, Marshall had promoted. He took out ads in the Wall Street Journal and about this can that Coca-Cola was going to buy from him, where you pop the top and it freezes in your hand. So whatever in the can gets cold. So you don't have to carry an ice chest to the beach anymore. Very cool idea.
That's an awesome idea.
Crazy, right? So Marshall was selling stock like mad. It wasn't a real company and it wasn't a real can. And he was literally printing stock certificates out of the back room in my office. So that was like probably the most illegal of all the stock deals that I ever got involved in on the back end of the deal.
Yeah.
And millions and millions of dollars was created through that deal.
How much would you say?
I don't know. I think Marshall probably ripped maybe 20 million.
Wow.
That's a lot of money back then.
That's a lot of money today.
Well, it was a lot of money then. So that's the deal that they busted me on. The Chill Can. They didn't bust me on Worldwide Ventures. They didn't bust me on any of the other deals, through my years and years and years of doing deals.
Yeah.
They got me on that deal and on tax fraud.
And so they never got you on those?
No, never.
Wow.
They got me on Marshall's deal.
They got you on Marshall's deal?
Yep, the Chill Can.
Holy cow.
And the way they got me...
The reason now, you spoke about these things in your book.
Yeah.
Because statute of limitations is gone.
Yeah, it doesn't matter.
Yeah, it doesn't matter anymore. You were really, at that point in time, you were brilliant in what you were doing.
We were brilliant because we knew how to wield the sword. Mm-hmm. You know, and if a particular trader at a brokerage firm didn't make the stock the price I want him to make it,
yeah,
then he pretty much got scared half to death, or beat half to death, or something bad happened to him.
And that's when, so you got the numbers you wanted.
Absolutely, because everybody knew who I was, and nobody would fuck with me.
And so when you went down, how did that happen?
Well, I knew I was in trouble with taxes.
And what way, how much taxes are we talking?
I don't know. I don't even know anymore. I honestly don't. I don't remember, because I made a deal with the tax part of it. This was before I got arrested with the chill can.
Okay.
So I knew I was in trouble. So I had my attorney go in, which is what every smart criminal should do. If you know you're going to be in trouble and you know you're going to get indicted, very first thing you do is get a good attorney and have him go see the U.S. attorney before they come see you. That's what you should do. That's my advice.
I love your advice.
So anyways, so I had my attorney go to his attorney's office and find out what they wanted. So they wanted to hit me with failure to report income. And then they charged me some crazy ass charge with stealing money from my own firm.
What?
Yeah. So they wanted to give me, I think, 2 5-year charges for failure to report income and embezzlement.
Okay.
But it was my own firm, my own money.
Yeah.
They basically they were telling me is I was stealing from myself. So,
welcome to the government.
Quick story. I know we're on a timeline.
No,
here,
you're good.
Quick story. So this is the charge. So I had this stock that I got from a guy who wanted me to promote it for him, and I took a big position in it. And he died. I didn't do anything. This was straight up. He just died on his own. So he dies. So I'm stuck with all this stock, and I'm sitting on it and sitting on it and sitting on it. I own a brokerage firm. So I had this young kid that I groomed to become a stockbroker. And I knew his family, and I knew he had a grandfather that lived in Connecticut, and his grandfather was like 97 years old and getting ready to kick the bucket. Mm-hmm. So I had him take all this stock, go to his grandfather, and I had him take his grandfather to Merrill Lynch and deposit all the stock into a Merrill Lynch account and then sell it. Well, there was only one market maker in the stock, and that was my brokerage firm, Royer Securities. So if any other broker would call and ask me about that stock, I would tell them that it was no bid, $3 offer, which means we don't want to buy any, but we're willing to sell you a bunch at $3.
Yeah.
But if Merrill Lynch called, we would say it was $3 bid and no offer, meaning we'll buy all you have, but we don't want to sell you any. Mm-hmm. So this kid takes his grandfather to Merrill Lynch with all this stock, deposit it into Merrill Lynch's account, and tells Merrill Lynch to sell it all. So of course Merrill Lynch is going to sell it all. So who do they sell it to? They sell it to me. So it's my stock under this kid's grandfather's name.
Yep.
They sell it to my brokerage firm. My brokerage firm pays for the stock, and then this kid's grandfather gets the check. So what did I do wrong?
What did you do wrong?
Well, I'm going to tell you what I did wrong. So we had the kid's grandfather go to the bank and cash the check. They didn't want to do it.
Because how much money was it?
It wasn't a lot of money. It was like $400,000, somewhere around there.
Okay.
But I wanted it back in cash.
Well, of course you did.
Yeah, we did. So we made Merrill Lynch cash the check, and then we had to wait a day for the money to get to the bank.
Yeah.
Because they had to order it.
Wow.
And of course, they had to call his attorney to make the bank do it. Mm-hmm. And his attorney was me, of course.
Yep.
I played the attorney when they called. And so we got the check cashed. And he came back with all the cash. And I gave him $50,000 for going to Connecticut for me. And he was very happy. The grandfather died. He didn't have to pay taxes. And I was very happy about that. And so so I had the cash. My brokerage firm had paid for all this stock. So now my brokerage firm has the stock back again.
Yeah.
Right? And because my brokerage firm had the money to pay it, I just didn't want to take the money out of my firm.
Yeah.
And put it in my pocket.
Gotcha.
I didn't want to pay taxes on that. So I sold it.
Yeah.
So now I bought it back again. So,
Okay.
I like cars.
Yes.
So I restored a 1976 Cadillac Eldorado convertible.
Okay.
And I had a young guy that worked for me. And I said to him, listen, we've got all this stock. And I'm going to give you a big commission on it. I want you to sell it for $3 a share. And I'm going to give you $1 commission on every share you sell. So, and I said, and on top of all of that, if you do it in 2 days, I'm going to give you that Cadillac Eldorado that's out there.
Wow.
So he did it in 1 day. He blew out all the stock at $3 a share. So not only did I get all the money back that I paid Kenny's grandfather, which came back to me, I got all the money back again that Royer paid for all the stock because we sold it to the public.
Wow.
Yeah. So
That's like a complex
deal.
Yeah. I mean, you ended up becoming the king of the penny stock market with the Mafia behind you.
Yeah.
And so that changed really Wall Street forever.
Pretty much.
Yeah.
Pretty much.
And so when you went down, how did it happen?
So I made this tax deal with the U.S. government, and they were going to sentence me, and I knew I was going to get probation. I mean, it was white-collar crime in 1985 or
And that wasn't a
86,
thing.
and it was not a thing back then, and the worst, what would I get? A couple months at some camp or something,
Yeah.
So, and of course I told all my guys, my boss and everyone else that, I've got this tax problem that I'm going to have to, face and take care of. So I had to go to a probation officer in Passaic, New Jersey to fill out this pre-sentence report bullshit. And so I walk into this place. I was driving a Jaguar at the time, and I had a phone in my car back then. Most people didn't.
Wow.
But I did.
Okay.
And I couldn't find a place. And I'm talking to my secretary, where the fuck is this place? And she said, I can't. And she hangs up the phone. She goes on. I'm thinking I had a bad connection. But she was trying to tell me she couldn't talk to me. I walk in, and I walk past these two guys, and they had ties on and jackets, and I just figured they worked in probation, and they just looked at me. And, so I wore a hairpiece back then, and that particular day it was a Tuesday morning, and I was up late watching Monday Night Football with my son, and I had to be down there early in the morning. I said, fuck it, I'm not going to get all dressed up or anything. I went there looking like a bum. I had my hairpiece on, I had a beard, and I walked right past these guys. And then I went to the floor that I thought I was supposed to be going to, and it wasn't the right floor. So I got back on the elevator, and I walked back downstairs, and I was going to look at the directory on the wall.
Yeah.
And so when I come back out of the elevator, these same two guys, one guy says to me, Larry? And I said, fuck, that's not good. I know exactly what this is. And he said, I'm Mike Cahill, I'm with the FBI, and you're under arrest.
Wow.
So they planned to get me at the probation office, and that's where they wanted to arrest me. So they could arrest me there while they were raiding my office and my house and arresting everyone else that was with me. So altogether, there was 18 or 19 of us that got arrested that day.
Wow.
Yeah, so Mike puts me in the back of his police car, FBI car. He said, we finally got you, Larry. I said, you don't got shit, man. Get away from me. He said, oh, no, I got you. He said, you see this? And he held up a cassette tape. I said, yeah, I see it. I said, so what? He said, well, I've got this and 4,999 more just like it with you and all your friends talking on it. I got you.
And that was the first time in history that they used wiretapping for a securities fraud case.
That's right. My case was the very first case.
And how did that happen?
Well, I had a guy that worked for me, Paulie Genovese, which was not his real name, which I found out later. He was actually a Jewish kid, pretending to be an Italian kid. And but he was a big, tough kid. You know, he was a weightlifter. You know, and I made him like my bodyguard, kind of. You know, because he was a big kid, and he was a tough kid. You know, Paulie was a tough kid, and he became like my very, very close friend. Well, he got arrested in Morristown one night. I didn't know about it. And he made a deal in Morris when he got arrested. And he basically said, hey, I got somebody I can give up. And they said, yeah, well, who is it? And he said, I can give you Marshall Zope. I know he's a fugitive. And they said, who the fuck is Marshall Zope? We don't care about Marshall Zope. Come up with something better. And he said, well, how about if I give you Larry Formato? And that was it. All the bells and whistles, everything went off when he mentioned my name. And because at that particular time, I pretty much owned Morris County.
Yeah.
I was the guy for Morris County.
Wow. So when they arrested you, you obviously immediately asked for your attorney.
I did. I asked for Morty Berger. They said, nope, you can't have him. We got him. I said, all right, how about Mark Bateman? Nope, you can't have him either. We got him. Well, how about Joe Rice? Oh, yeah, we got him too. I said, is there any of my attorneys that you didn't get? Nope, we got them all, and we got your whole crew.
Holy cow. So what were you charged with?
Bank fraud, stock fraud, and then they were going to hit me with 5 RICOs. One in New Jersey, one in New York, one in Florida, one in California, and one in Denver.
Wow.
5 RICOs, each RICO carrying 20 years.
Holy cow.
Yeah.
And what was going through your mind at this time?
I'm fucked.
Okay, so so from the time you were arrested, did you go to trial?
I pled out.
Okay.
I pled out.
And what was your plea?
I pled out to, I think 1 count of bank fraud, 1 count of tax evasion, or failure to report, a count of stock fraud, and some other miscellaneous counts. I don't know what they were, but anyway, when the judge decided to sentence me, he started rattling off years like they were days. And he said to me, this fucking judge, man, he had his gavel in his hand, and he said, you, Mr. Formato, I know you, or someone you know, or someone that's very close to you, has all this money, and I want it. And he starts banging his gavel on the thing. And he said, and you are going to get 30 years in federal prison.
Wow. All right, guys, I am absolutely obsessed with this new app that I found, and I've spoken about it before. It's called Rocket Money, and Rocket Money has helped me to find subscriptions that I didn't even know I had and cancel them. I mean, subscriptions have a tendency to drain your wallet. The average person has around 12 paid subscriptions, and they might not even remember to subscribing to half of those. If you have no idea just how much you're spending each month, you need Rocket Money. It's this great app that tracks all of your expenses so you know exactly where your money is going. Rocket Money is a personal finance app that finds and cancels your unwanted subscriptions, monitors your spending, and helps you lower your bills all in one place. Most people think they're spending $80 on subscriptions, when in reality, the number is closer to $200. When you're signed up for so many things like streaming services you used to watch for one show, or free trials for delivery you don't use, it's so easy to lose track of what you're paying for. Rocket Money can even negotiate to lower your bills for you by up to 20%. All you have to do is take a picture of your bill, and Rocket Money takes care of the rest. So stop wasting money on things you don't use. Cancel your unwanted subscriptions and manage your money the easy way by going to rocketmoney.com/Savannah. That's rocketmoney.com/Savannah. rocketmoney.com/Savannah. One thing, though, going back a little bit that we didn't touch on, was you had made all of this money. You've spoken about how you love cars, you love music. And RCA Records comes along. And you go to purchase RCA Records with a $55 million non-refundable deposit.
Yeah, yeah.
And they arrested you the day before you were supposed to close that deal.
Yeah, so we were doing a leveraged buyout of the RCA record division. I had put up $55 million of my own money to buy it, non-refundable. And then we were going to use the rest of their assets to buy them out. So it's called the leveraged buyout. And that deal was going to make me the most legitimate wise guy ever. Because that would have given me enough power in the legitimate world and enough money to just do anything I wanted to do. I had more money than the government had to fight me. They didn't have big budgets back then. So that would have made me totally legitimate, and I was going to be totally out. So I said to Joe one day, Joe the Indian, I said, I'm tired of all this stock shit, man. This is going to be my last deal. The 21 Entertainment Records deal was going to be my last deal. And he said, well, we have a lot of connections in the music business too.
I'm done.
I said, fuck, man, there's just no getting out.
There's no getting out. You're stuck forever.
Yeah, you're done.
And so the government knew you were purchasing RCA records.
Oh, yeah. So they knew they had to stop me. So the day before I was closing the RCA deal, that's when they arrested me.
And that deal didn't go through.
It never went through.
And you lost $55 million.
Well, a lot more than that, but yeah, just on that one deal, yeah.
A lot more than that. Well, because then the government, so this judge sentenced you to 30 years.
Yeah.
And then monetarily, what was taken?
All my assets that I acquired, houses, money, cars, everything was taken that I made in a corrupt world. The only thing I got to keep was what I made in the music industry legitimately.
Okay.
I fought for that and we won.
Wow.
Yeah.
So you really had the rise and fall of it all.
Oh, yeah.
And when you were sentenced to 30 years, where were you sent to?
MCC, New York, which is a holding facility. And that's where they kept me for 5 years.
Wow.
Yeah.
What was their reasoning for doing so?
3 of those 5 years was in lockdown. 23 out of 24 hours a day.
Holy cow.
Yeah.
The toll that had to have taken on your mental health.
Well, you just got to beat it. You don't let them beat you. You got to beat it. And you do. You read. You try to stay as healthy as you can while you're in there. And, that's all you can do. You fight with the guards, you fight with the guards. And then when you get tired of fighting with them, you just pay them off.
See, now, I was wondering if we could talk about that.
Yeah, sure.
Okay. So you had all of those correctional officers paid off.
On my payroll, yeah.
They were on your payroll.
No, not all of them. There was like a couple of them that I didn't even like, not even a little bit, so fuck them guys. But yeah, for the most part, yeah.
So how did that work? Why did you pay them? Why were they on your payroll? What did they do for you?
Well, I got to come out of my cell when other people couldn't.
Okay.
I had use of a telephone that wasn't a payphone.
Okay.
Not when I say payphone, I mean you didn't have to make a collect call.
Yeah.
There was a phone in the attorney conference room.
Okay.
That you could just dial out. So they would open that room up for me so I could just go in there and make all the phone calls I wanted.
Wow.
That wasn't recorded.
Yeah.
So, yeah. So, and then, of course, we had visits, which nobody else had. My visitor would come, there'd be nobody else in the visiting room, and the guards would get up and leave.
Wow.
Yeah.
Okay, so you were there for 5 years.
Yeah.
And why did they keep you in a holding facility? Why didn't they transfer you?
To punish me. Yeah.
Because it's a lot tougher.
They had this case in New York, in the Eastern District, Federal Flushing Savings and Loan.
Okay.
It was a bank fraud case that I was involved in. Not completely involved, but involved enough to catch a charge on it.
Okay.
And they wanted me to testify at this trial, which I didn't want any part of. And so that was...
Because in your world, You don't snitch.
You don't.
Doesn't matter what comes your way.
It doesn't matter.
Because if you do,
Yeah, you're a rat.
you'll pay for it later.
Yeah. So, which is actually what brought me to really write this book, Connected. Because for years and years and years, people didn't know whether I ratted or didn't rat. You know, we didn't have an internet. We didn't have all that stuff where you can look it up. So when I went to Congress, and I gave my testimony in Congress.
Well, that's a whole other story.
It is, but I just want to say this. When I wrote the book, I took word for word right out of the Library of Congress, unedited, of my complete testimony, and put it in the book. So it's right there in black and white. Whenever they asked me for a name, I declined.
Yeah.
So I never gave a name to Congress. Never.
And so so you're in prison, and
Yeah.
when did it come about you testifying in front of Congress?
So Mike Cahill, who's the FBI agent, while I was in jail, he just felt that he could get to me. You know, that he's seen something in me, I guess, that I didn't see in myself.
Yeah.
Because I pretty much was a badass motherfucker.
Yeah.
I mean, there's no ifs, ands, or buts about it. I was a bully. I was a bad guy, you know, and I wielded a lot of power, and I took no shit from anyone. So, but he saw something in me that I didn't see in myself, and he brought me all those cassette tapes that he told me about, and a tape recorder, and he got the warden to allow me to have this tape recorder while I was in jail. They don't let you have tape recorders in jail.
Yeah.
So, but I had it, and I had all these cassette tapes. He said, just listen to them. You might hear something. Maybe if you want to tell me you hear something that we missed, you know, but listen to them. So I did. And I listened to myself talk on the telephone. And man, I tell you what, I didn't like the guy I was listening to. That guy was a real piece of shit. If I'd have known that guy in my personal life the way I am right now, me and him would not get along at all. This
And
guy,
that takes a lot to...
yeah, he was an asshole, man. You know, Larry Formato was a real motherfucker.
Yeah.
He was an asshole. He abused his power, and he abused a lot of people. You know, I ran over a lot of guys. I helped a lot of guys, but I ran over a lot of guys too.
And so sitting there listening to yourself, you were kind of forced to face what you ran from for so many years.
Yeah.
And that caused you to want to testify in front of Congress.
Pretty much, yeah. I knew I wanted to change my life. And I knew this was not the life that I wanted to keep or have after listening to myself. So I did. So that's what why I decided to go to Congress. I had, you know, small children, and I thought maybe I could do just something that might be good, that they could have something to say. Well, he wasn't all bad, you know. So that's what I did, you know.
And so when the government came to you about testifying in front of Congress, what was their goal?
So basically, there was a congressional committee, and they were looking into the infiltration of organized crime into the penny stock market. They didn't know what to do about it. They didn't know how to change any of the rules. They didn't have anyone that could tell them how to do it, and they just kept asking for names of people that might be qualified enough to give them the information that they needed. So basically, my name kept hitting the bell every single time as the number one guy. So they wanted me to explain how the workings of the penny stock market, how it worked, and how all these guys made money. And so basically one of the things I told them was, if you're a mover and a shaker in the penny stock business, organized crime has a hand on your shoulder. And that's pretty much what it boils down to.
And when they came to you about testifying, though, you said, I will do it, but I need to make sure I'm protected.
That's correct.
I will not say any names, but I will give you all the information you need.
Yep.
And I guess you were in a van on the way to testify.
Yeah. Yeah.
And you saw paparazzi, you saw people from news outlets taking pictures, and you called them out and said, "What I need to be protected." And what did they do?
Well, that's not quite what happened. No.
Okay.
So we pull up, and yeah, there was all these people there, and I knew that I was. They were not supposed to know who I was. So when we first stepped out of the van, the head marshal, Alfie was his name, threw this hood over my head, and he said, "Listen, I'm just doing this because we don't want them to take your picture. I'll walk you in, and when we get inside, I'll take the hood off." I said, "Okay." So here I was now with this hood. I mean, in a million years, I'd have never let them do it if I knew they were going to do that. You know, so, but, you know, and this picture of me in this hood has lived on for years and years and years.
Yeah, it's there.
Oh, it's fucking there, all right.
We'll put it in the video, too, because so people can see.
Oh, yeah, it's there. So I testified at Congress, and when I left Congress that day, I thought to myself, these guys are never going to do a fucking thing that I told them to do. And it was just a waste of my time. And I went back. They took me back to New York, to MCC New York. And that night, one of the guards, I call them cops, one of the cops came to my door. And he opened my door and he said, "Hey, Larry, you got to come and see this." So we went to the kitchen where we had a TV in the kitchen with cable. And there on the TV was a picture of me in the hood and a picture of me without the hood. And it was just going and scrolling across. Larry Formato gives a blistering indictment against organized crime and infiltration into the penny stock market.
Whew.
And it was just going over and over. And the next day it was in every newspaper across the country. Picture of me and a picture of me in the hood.
And that was completely against what your deal with the government was.
It was completely against my deal.
It was their job to protect you in exchange
for me telling them how to fix the problem.
Yeah. And they distorted your voice during the hearing?
They did. They distorted my voice. They, you know, kept the cameraman where I was behind a shield kind of thing, where I could see the congressman, they could see me, but the cameras were all behind this shield.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And so your testimony led to the Penny Stock Reform Act of 1990.
That's correct.
And that was just to kind of help with the organized crime within the stock market?
Well, so people call me a crook and they tell me that I'm a bad guy and that I robbed millions and millions and millions of dollars. And they're probably right about that. So, but the other side of the coin is the legislation that was passed for the Securities Act of 1990, which was the most important Securities Act that was passed since 1933, saved the American public billions and billions of dollars. So in comparison, the millions that I did versus the billions that I saved the American public, there's no comparison.
And you got to a point to where you hated the person you were.
Oh, yeah.
And this was your chance to make things right.
Yeah, and I did. So Congress adopted every single thing I told them to do, which I was totally shocked about. So all those new laws, everything, that whole law was written verbally from what I told them to do.
Wow.
So pink sheets no longer existed where you had to look them up. I told them to make pink sheets electronic, just like they do on all the other stocks.
Yeah.
Yeah, and they did it. You know, promoters had to be licensed. They did it. And bonded. They did it.
And so after you testified at Congress, you went back to your cell.
To my cell.
And how much time did you end up serving?
I served a total of 5 years. People thought that I went to Congress to get out of jail.
Yeah.
But I was almost done with jail when I went to Congress. I didn't get I didn't get a get out of jail free card for going to Congress. In fact, the only thing I got from going to Congress was fucked. Pretty much. That was pretty much it, you know. Because
once you went to Congress, did the Mafia world completely turn against you?
Well, they were turned upside down because they didn't know what I said. They didn't know what I said or who I said it about. You know, so they had no clue. I mean, they didn't have the records of the Library of Congress.
Yeah.
You know, so, you know, it isn't like today. You know, you can't Today you can find out anything.
Yeah.
Back then, forget it. So they didn't know. The only thing they knew was what the TV was telling them, that Larry Formato delivered a blistering indictment against organized crime in the penny stock market. So that's what they knew, that's what they heard, and that's what they believed. Mm-hmm.
And so when you got out of jail, you were placed into witness protection.
I was.
Because of that reason.
Because of that reason.
And witness protection
was a motherfucker.
You said that was worse than spending time inside.
It was. Yeah, it was. Yeah. So they flew me and my son to Nashville, Tennessee. That's
crazy.
That's where we landed, was Nashville, Tennessee.
And your name was?
Larry Paradise.
I still laugh at that. Yeah. That's insane. So you're in witness protection.
Yeah.
That is crazy. And so now looking at the time that you spent inside.
Yeah.
How were you prepared to re-enter back into society? Well, you also, one thing we didn't touch on was when you were inside, you really turned to religion.
Yeah, I did.
And you got ordained, correct?
I did.
So you went from being part of the most organized crime world.
Vicious.
To now being like giving communion.
Yeah. And when the priest couldn't come on Sundays, that's exactly what I did.
Wow.
Yeah.
And so that was you turning your life around.
Yeah. I mean, it was time,
Yeah.
As I said, I've had miracles in my life. Mm-hmm. Going to jail saved my life. Honestly, I mean, I wouldn't take that part of it back for anything.
Yeah.
I'm glad that happened. Mm-hmm. I mean, it really saved my life. Mike Cahill told me when he arrested me, when I got to jail, he called them bars, but they were never bars. It was just a door. But he said, when you get there, you should be hugging and kissing those bars tonight because these guys were going to kill you.
Wow.
Yeah.
Wow.
You can get too big and you can get too powerful, mm-hmm. and you can know too much, and then you become dangerous.
Yeah.
So I guess I was teetering on the dangerous end. Mm-hmm. And I don't know, maybe they felt they had made enough money and they knew that I wanted out.
Yeah.
I was doing this record deal and they all couldn't get a piece of it.
Yeah.
A lot of people were getting cut out of it. So.
And so now when you look at your time and you say that it saved your life.
Oh, it did.
Literally saved your life.
I promise you. It saved my life.
When to this day, there still has to be struggle because you have a record.
Oh, absolutely.
And that's what doesn't matter. Every lease application, every purchase, you are by, definition a convicted felon. And people don't realize how that impacts your life because you served your time.
Yeah. So the way I get around that, like if you go to open up a brokerage account, as an example,
yeah,
they do a background search. Mm-hmm. Of course, they search my name, So basically, they say, we don't want you.
Yeah.
Right? So then I write a response back to them, and I say, well, if I was good enough for Congress, then I should be good enough for you. Mm. So I'm the guy that changed these laws.
Yeah.
So that's how I get over and get accepted through these certain things. But yeah, you're right.
And it's never too late for a second chance.
Yeah.
That's the thing that I'm like now, obviously, with my parents' situation, I'm looking into all of these laws that do affect convicted felons.
Yeah.
And in the state of Tennessee, you can't even be a hairdresser. And that's the sad part, is I don't feel like we're doing our job as a society by ruining the rest of someone else's life. They serve their time. You serve your time inside.
Yeah, I mean, I think a lot of that has to do with if you have to give them paper, meaning when you get out, mm-hmm. Are you on probation? Yeah. And then if you are, is your probation officer a real cocksucker? Is he a prick, or is he a nice guy? That really makes a big difference. Yeah. Because when these guys are real pricks, it kind of forces these guys to go back into a life of crime.
See, and that's what I have said is when we don't equip these men and women to re-enter back into society, they have no other choice but to do the only thing they knew they were good at.
Yeah.
And that's the issue, is that we're still doing the same things today that we did back when you were in prison. Like, that should tell us we're doing something wrong.
Well, you know, it's a big problem.
Yeah.
But it's not so much up to the prison system or the government. It's the real person that makes that decision is the person himself. You know, I could make a decision to go back to a life of crime pretty damn easy. You know, I mean, seriously, it would be pretty easy.
Yeah.
You know, or I could just do it the right way.
Yeah.
You know, and a lot of times doing it the right way is hard.
It is very hard.
I had an attorney once, Mark Bateman, and he used to tell me, you know, your problem is, Larry, you're only half a crook. You know, so either you got to be a whole crook, you know, you just can't be a half a crook.
Yeah.
You know, and so you either got to be committed and go all the way, got to be all the way in, or don't just be halfway in. You know, so same thing when you get out of jail. You've got to be committed to yourself, not to the government. You don't have to prove anything to your probation officer or anyone else. You're a man or a woman. You know, this is who you are. You know, you are what you're made up of. And if you want to be a good person, you'll find a way to be a good person.
Yeah.
I'm challenged, and I promise you, I'm challenged every day of my life. I have a challenge. Someone somewhere challenges me. They want to know if I'm the tough guy that did all these things, or, you know, can you get to this guy, or can we get him to do this deal, or will he do that deal for us? I'm challenged every single day, and every single day I have to turn away from it.
Yeah.
You know, so
it is up to you.
It's
and
the person.
I do think that our government could assist a little better
They can.
in helping that.
They can, but you have to want to help yourself too. I mean, you really do.
Yeah.
And it's no different. I know today is like a different world. It's not the world that I grew up in, but it certainly is the world that you are in now, and you'll be here for a long time. I won't be. But, you know, you guys do have it harder in a way, but I blame you guys a lot too on the younger generation.
100%.
So, I mean, when I got out of jail, I had nothing. Absolutely nothing.
Yeah.
And when I was coming down the elevator in this Nashville airport, I was met with a U.S. Marshal who was going to be my seer or overseer or go-to guy or whatever you want to call him when you're in a witness protection program. And I had a pair of Cassell glasses on, sunglasses, and I had a big pinky diamond ring on. And he said, "Oh, yeah, you're going to fit right in here, pal." He said, "You do know you're in Nashville."
Wow.
He said, "You better get with it and, you know, get rid of those sunglasses and that pinky ring."
Yeah.
And that was pretty much all the help he ever gave us. He dropped us off at a room in downtown Nashville, and that's where we lived for 3 months until I bought a house.
Wow.
And
what a story.
Yeah.
And so you do have a new book that you're working on.
I do. Yeah.
And how is that going to be different than Connected?
It picks up where Connected left off.
Okay.
And it kind of tells a little bit of a story, which I'll feed out just a little of it. So, like, when we got to Nashville, my son and I, we had nothing, and we both wanted to be in the music business.
Yeah.
And so I made these little flyers up.
Yeah.
You know, if you're looking for paradise, you know, here we are. So basically, Paradise Management was our company, and I made these flyers, and I had these 10 little things that if you wanted to be a writer or a singer in the industry, this is what you needed to do, and you needed to hire Paradise Management consultants.
Yeah.
And I used to go down to Music Row every morning. At Shoney's. There was Shoney's down there on Music Row then. And you don't remember that. It was before you were born. And I would hand out all these damn little flyers,
Yeah.
trying to get people to give me $500 to retain me to represent them.
Wow.
I knew more people in the music business than just about anybody.
Yeah.
My partners in the music business before I was arrested was Kuhn Sulenfeld, who was the president of Polygram Records, chairman of the board of Polygram.
Wow.
Freddie Hines was the president of Polydor. They were my partners
Yeah.
in the music industry. They were the biggest people in the industry. So I pretty much had the industry pretty
By
much wrapped
storm.
up. So here's this little guy in Nashville now, Larry Paradis, that nobody fucking knows, you know? And I'm dying because I can't tell anybody who I know.
Who you really are.
Yeah. Or who I know.
Yeah. So your book picks up there.
Picks up there with me starting off at Music Row, and very quickly I went from not having anything to where we bought a little house in Donaldson.
Yep.
My son and I, and then we went over to Bury Hill.
Okay.
And we bought a house and a studio, a music studio,
Yeah.
in Bury Hill. We owned it, and we started a little record company and a production company and a publishing company. And Sonny still has a publishing company to this day.
That's amazing. So what's the title of the book? Do you have it yet?
I do have it.
You'll tell us later?
No, I'll tell you now.
You'll tell me?
It's called Dangerous Ways.
Wow. Oh, I love that. So
Yeah.
people can find your original book, Connected,
Yeah.
by Larry Formato, on Amazon. You can Google it. And then you've got a new book in the works.
Yes.
And potentially a documentary.
Yeah, we have a documentary coming soon.
Wow. Well, I cannot wait. Thank you so much for sharing your story. And I mean, you literally went from a mobster to giving communion to like your life completely turned around.
Yeah.
Well, thank you.
I appreciate it. Thank you so much.
You're the best. You're
One more
awesome.
thing.
What?
I figured God forgave me, so I don't care about the rest of the people. Fuck them.
I love it.